Good morning. How you doing? I gotta click the right button here. Hey, it's Friday. Almost the weekend. Maybe the trading will stop for a while and things will stabilize for GameStop. I don't know. It's everyone's still talking about it. It's and a couple things that you've missed probably because of it are going to be very interesting to you. So, wow. There's a whole lot of shit going on. What's you're like the rest of us. You got a gulag number. Oh, I haven't. I'm sorry. I had to look at the chat for a second. I don't remember. We'll check the chat after when I say goodbye. Good morning to everybody. Anyway, hi. It's Friday. I don't have a good intro, so I'm going to play the regular intro. See you in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America. It's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. All right, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawg Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the PDawg Knight Channel. It is Friday, the 29th of January, 2021, and we're almost going into the second month of Hell 2.0, known as unskippable commercials. Oh, for F's sake, those are supposed to be, I specifically don't check that box. I'll have to double check what's going on with my monetization page and make sure I fix that. So you should not have unskippable commercials. If that happens again, make sure you let me know and I'll get that fixed. Anyway, so we're going to talk about, for F's sake, I didn't do the thing, did I? Okay, well, thank you, tall person, for being Johnny on the spot and being the first donation of the day. And honestly, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day. And I can't even read it because, yes, I can read it. Tall person says with the $6 Streamlabs donation says, happy. Hippity hoppity happy National Carnation Day. Yes, we are celebrating National Carnation Day today. We have $1 off 6 dozen carnations at my local nursery if you could make it there. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't think they have $1 off carnations, but thank you so much, tall person, for reminding us of this very momentous occasion. Monday's the 1st of February, and it's funny because I was looking at the calendar on my phone, and I usually, I can't remember what, because something popped up on my phone that said it had something scheduled, and I didn't recall scheduling anything. I'm like, what is this? And so I went to the calendar on my phone, and I'm looking at it, and it was something, and maybe some meeting that someone actually accidentally enjoined me in from. Because I coach. I have an email that has a name that apparently there's a whole bunch of coaches around the country that use the same name, but with 1, 2, 3, 4. I am the original Coach Marty, but there's Coach Marty 1, 2, 3, 4. So I get emails from coaches from all kinds of different sports from all around, from various places in the country, just because they think, oh, Coach Marty, that's the right email, right? And so someone put me in a meeting, and sometimes when you put in Google, when they put you in a meeting in an email, it'll automatically add it to your calendar on your Android phone. So I had this meeting, and I'm like, I don't have this meeting. But then I looked at my calendar, and February 1st, my calendar, you know how you sometimes get the automatic holidays filled in and events and stuff filled in? And on February 1st, on my Google phone calendar, it says, first day of Black History Month. I'm like, really? Do I need to be notified of that? Is it like, okay, my phone knows that I'm a brother and I need to know, make sure I know when the first day of Black History Month is. I just, every day is Black History Month for me. I don't need to know when the first day of Black History Month is. I mean, to me, that's just American history to me. Every day is History Month. Anyway, I thought it was weird. Anyway, but again, happy National Carnation Day. And yes, tall person, until someone donates more than $6, you are the Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day. Anyway, let's say good morning to everybody real quick, and then we'll get into the the daily grind, so to speak. First today here was Bubba Hotep, but let's see. He's going to take a nap, but I'm going to give you a bell anyway. And then I'm also going to give a bell to Maddie, who was the first one here after I opened the stream. I appreciate you jumping in. And also thank you for always sending out notifications for the show. I greatly appreciate that. Also, good morning to Green Badger Outdoors, Mike Savage, Blarg. Good morning, Chad Dupree, Scribe Light, Dawg Knight. Also, Cindy Rochelle, also who always tweets out the show. I appreciate that. Gunfox61, the ever diligent keeper of the Discord server, keeping it clean and fresh, and always again, if you want to find good news stories, Gunfox is prolific at putting stories on the Discord server. Also, good morning, Effin Mechi, who I can finally say the name right, Advocatus Diablo, the Devil's Advocate, Tony Topanga, nice to see you back, and boy, are you in the game today. You got a lot of stuff going on in there in the chat. And good morning also, Tall Person and Sean and Atheist Icon and Small Man. Oh, Tall Man and Small Man are here. Fantastic. Let's see. Also, Katie Did Skate. How you doing? Good morning to Jonathan Peterson. Let's see. Who else is in here that I haven't said yet? Attack Alpaca. Did I say Attack Alpaca yet? Well, I am now. Oh, you just got that. No, I did not. So good morning, Attack Alpaca. Aaron Meredith, Select a Boy. Yeah, boy. Also, let's see. Jedi Ghost Bear, nice to see you. Sapphire Dragon. I think I'm pretty much getting everybody here. Yeah, I think so. And Saint Fugi's in the house. Nice to see you. So anyway, an Infamous One. How you doing? Infamous One? Plot twist. Every month is Black History Month. Well, yeah, it's like... It's American history, I mean, it's not like we were only in American history in February, and it's like some people make the joke, obviously they give the black people the shortest month, but I don't even care. I just, can we just be Americans again and make it all part of the because just be part of the whole thing, right? It's all part of the whole thing. Good morning, Cynical Lindsay too. Dropped last night. I'm at work. Ugh. Oh, that's too bad, Gunfuck. Well, sometimes you got to work. I got home this morning. I got home in time to. Oh my gosh, there's a whole bunch of people here. By the way, okay, I'm floundering here. I'm sorry, guys. It's every once in a while I try to think of 7 things at the same time and try to verbalize them all at once, and it doesn't always work. All right, let me get just into the show today. Dave, how you doing? Can we have a White History Month? Well, every day is White History Month too. Every month is you know what? We are all on the same team. We don't always get along. Sometimes the defense wants to punch the offense in the mouth. And sometimes the offense wants to punch the defense in the mouth, but we are all the same team. And if we don't act like a team at some point, we are going to lose this game called whatever we call it. Anyway, so let's talk about the, let me do some quick thank yous first. Also, thank you, Cynical Lindsay, Renee Mayette, Renee Mayette, daughter of Orwell. That's a new tagline on there. Also, Maddie, Scribe Light, Cindy Rochelle, everyone who tweets out the show or retweets the tweet or whatever. Just a reminder, on most social media, I am at PDawgKnight. Obviously, this Parler thing here, Parler is kind of not working right now, but you can find me on Cloud Hub. You can find me on BitChute. You can find me on Rumble, Trovo, obviously YouTube, Gab, Minds. I have a bookmark at every one of those places just to make sure no one takes my name, although I am the one and only PDawg Knight, just so you know. All right, so let's get into the subreddit insurrection a little bit here. Apparently this is not going to end. The Redditites, the Redditors, the whatever that group is, they're holding. They're not messing around. What happened yesterday is that they had some setbacks. We talked about how the Empire Strikes Back. By the way, good morning, Maniac Man. History is only history when someone records it. That's an interesting way to put it. Okay. Anyway, so yesterday we talked about how the Empire struck back, right? A couple of the big houses put their foot down and said, wait, we got to stop trading this shit, right? And so Robinhood, one of the online app brokers, made it impossible for their day traders or day investors or home investors to trade certain stocks that were part of the subreddit insurrection, namely GameStop and what were some of the others? The movie company AMC, Nokia phones. They stopped the ability for people to. Now this is okay. In fact, when I say this, see if this makes sense to you. They made it so that people could not buy the stocks that were part of the Reddit insurrection, right? But they could still sell those stocks. If they make it so that you cannot buy those stocks, but so you can sell those stocks, who the hell's buying them then? Oh, wait a minute. The people are trying to drive the price of the stocks down again, right? Because right now these hedge funds that are were trying to get the price down because they shorted them. They were trying to drive the price down so they could get to not lose as much money as they were losing, because at one point it was like 14 billion with the B dollars that these different brokerage houses were losing because of this, because these people who are saying F you to them, right? And so somebody was still being allowed to buy them, right? And so anyway, they were trying to drive the price down. So here's so now that was the Empire striking back. Well, now and very quickly, this actually happened yesterday. I mentioned it, but I didn't get into the details of it. There are already lawsuits filed against Robinhood after restricting trades of the shorted stocks, which good. And I'm pretty sure Robinhood's going to lose. Well, Robinhood is probably in a little trouble here. I think someone's going to go to jail. Multiple lawsuits have been filed Thursday against Robinhood Financial after the company restricted its users from trading GameStop and other shorted stocks it deemed volatile. Brendan Nelson, a retail investor from Massachusetts, filed the suit in the Southern District of New York, claiming that the company violated the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing with its customers when it forbid users from making certain transactions. On or about January 27, 2021, Robinhood, in order to slow the growth of GameStop and deprive their customers of the ability to use their service, abruptly, purposefully, willingly, and knowingly pulled GameStop from their app. The lawsuit says, meaning the retail investors could no longer buy or even search for GameStop on Robinhood's app. This obviously, all my tabs today will be in the show notes and in the comments down, or excuse me, in the section down below after the show. I'll add them all, so if you want to look at these lawsuits yourself or any of these articles yourself, they will be there. Good morning, Ryan himself. How you doing? So anyway, class action complaint against Robinhood. And if you want to look at it, it will be the tweets here, and you just got to right click this right here. I'm not going to actually. We're not going to look at the lawsuit itself, but anyway, so the Empire Strike Back, and the plebes say, hey. Not so fast, bitch. Here, in fact.
Gotcha, bitch.
Coming back at you, right? So, now, a lot of fun commentary going on now, but Robinhood is raising money because they know they're a little bit in trouble, and I'm going to show you some different things. Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports is very outspoken on this. Robinhood raised over $1 billion on Thursday to help meet the increased demand from amateur investors using the stock trading app amid this week's GameStop frenzy, a report said. Now, remember, one of these brokerage houses owns Robinhood. So Clown Shapiro, what about? Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm not even gonna talk about Ben Shapiro. His take was accurate. I'm not gonna talk about it. Let me finish this. The brokerage app, which serves many of the investors who drove up GameStop and AMC prices, was in need of the cash infusion in part to pay out users for their trades. The New York Times reported. Robinhood co-founder Vladimir Tenev said the market volatility caused disruption and the company decided to freeze certain trades. Quote, "We had to make a very difficult decision to protect our customers and protect our firms. The problem is the customers didn't ask to be protected." As he told Chris Cuomo Thursday night, "We're in a historic situation with a lot of activity and a lot of buying and concentrated in a relatively small number of symbols that are going viral on social media," he said. So we haven't really seen anything like this before, and to prudently manage the risk and the deposit requirements, we had to restrict buying these 13 stocks. So they held 13 different stocks. So here he is on Cuomo's show. By the way, real quick before I do that, thank you, Maddie, for the link in through Streamlabs, who says Robinhood also sold stocks without the account holder's permission. I was seeing screen caps all over yesterday. They screwed up big time. Yeah. So now they said it was because, so what happened? So a lot of these people are buying these stocks and they're holding them. A lot of these people don't give a shit if they lose money or not. They just want to stick it to these hedge fund people who basically, even though they didn't technically themselves get bailed out in 2008. A lot of these hedge funds that over leveraged themselves, the banks that were going to help them, because the banks got fucked up. Well, the banks got bailed out, and that's the only reason some of these hedge funds are even still exist. So yeah, so this guy decides, okay, we're gonna stop letting people trade, and then he said the reason that they were selling people's positions in these stocks without their permission, saying, well, they're protecting their clients. This is clearly a case where clients do not want to be protected. They are in it for the long haul here. So anyway, thank you, Maddie. Appreciate that. All right, now let's see this little let's see the interview with Dum Dum here. Here we go. We'll see how this goes.
Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev. Vlad, thank you for joining us.
Chris, thank you for having me. This is surreal for me. I've been watching your show a lot, especially through this past year.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Look, you know my audience.
So we know a lot about Vlad just because of what he just said. He watches a lot of Chris Cuomo.
This is not an investment show, and I don't think it needs to be. I don't really care about your capital commitments, your liquidity, and what was going on the regulatory side. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that. But
and because I don't understand anything about any of that shit, because I'm a fucking dunce. Anyway, sorry.
I want you to address the obvious. This looks like a move by an outfit called Robinhood, which is supposed to be taken from the rich and given to the poor, and doing exactly the opposite. Hey. That when the big guys, including one of your main investors in your company, started to lose, you shut down the game to starve the little guy. Fair criticism.
That's not what it is at all. And I know you started this segment. It really resonated with me because you described the story of Robinhood. Robinhood started 5 years ago by pioneering commission-free, no-account minimum mobile investing. And we've been the spokesperson of the individual investor. And our whole goal as an institution is to enable those customers, empower them, and give them access to the markets. Because for the longest time, markets have been only accessible to the wealthy. And so the entire industry adopted our business model in 2019, and in 2020 we added millions of new customers. The entire industry added millions of new customers who took advantage of the market rally and became investors for the very first time.
Okay, so I don't want to hear history. Let's get to the nuts of this. Let's see when Chris starts talking again. Here we go. Okay.
You know, we had to make a very difficult decision to protect our customers and our firm.
Why?
But we in no way.
Why? Explain why you had to do it if it wasn't to protect the guys who had shorted the stocks, which are the big hedge funds. How are you helping the little guy investors?
Well, I know that there's rumors around that, you know, we were directed by market makers or other market participants to do this. And I want to be 100% clear. This decision was not made on the direction of any market maker or other market participants.
So why'd you do it?
Robinhood, as a brokerage, has lots of financial requirements, SEC requirements. We have to put up money at clearinghouses. The amount of money that we have to put up depends on market volatility, and we're in a historic situation where there's a lot of activity and a lot of buying concentrated in a relatively small number of symbols that are going viral on social media. So we haven't really seen anything like this before. And to prudently manage the risk and the deposit requirements, we had to restrict buying in these 13 stocks. But customers that held them could sell throughout. Thousands of other securities and stocks on our platform were available to freely trade. And our number one priority, as you mentioned, is to make sure our platform is reliable, stable for our customers. We're serving our customers and giving them the tools.
But that's exactly what's the question now.
We're doing everything in our power to turn it back on as soon as prudent.
But that's the thing, is that the trust is in question, because it seems like the only people who are getting hurt were the big shots. And that if they were benefiting from this, your small investors now believe that you wouldn't have shut down the game. And just one thing without getting in the weeds.
Okay, now, I understand that in a normal situation, if it weren't very clear what these investors were doing, and I'm just curious, if it were a case where it was just an individual investor, just one, not a giant group like this, would they shut down or make it difficult for someone to buy in a certain account if it weren't like a mass number of people doing this, but the same danger of losing money was there? So let's say there's a stock that's super volatile and that wasn't part of this big buying plan that all these people had on Reddit, where they see, is this company going to stop allowing people to purchase stocks that's dropping? They wouldn't do that in any other case, regardless of what's happening right now. Real quick, thank you, GunFox61. The hedge funds paid Pedo Joe and Yellen millions. Robinhood said, fuck you to the little guy, and this Robinhood is full of bullshit. Yep. Yep, I'm agreeing, and we'll get into Janet Yellen in a little bit too. Poor choice of phrase. Okay, here we go.
Here. You don't control the listing venue for GameStop. Now, I used to work in finance, so I know this stuff, but the audience...
Oh, God. Chris always has to pump up himself. He always has to give why he's special. Yes, Chris, you are special, but there's a whole nother definition of special that I'm talking about. All right, let's go.
Doesn't need to. The New York Stock Exchange does. So if anybody was going to control the listing and shut it down, it should have been them, but it wasn't. It was you. And the reason that they do it is very limited. They do it because they think there's evidence of fraud, or they think that there needs to be a material disclosure by the company that hasn't been made. And that's done to protect the investor. You check none of those boxes here.
Ding.
Because you don't control the venue. You didn't know about any information that GameStop or any of these other stocks needed to put out. You don't have any reason to believe there's fraud that you've articulated. And you're certainly not protecting these people who've been living the dream of making money, especially at the expense of the big guys. So why should people believe you did this for the right reasons?
Well, we have no choice. We have to comply with all financial requirements. And
the SEC hasn't said you had to do this.
Well, lots of brokers have to comply with these financial requirements.
Okay, so if this is the case, how many other trading apps did all the trading apps shut this down at the same time? That'd be a good test. And right now, I can only think I think there were two. These guys and TD Ameritrade who did this. And this one is the biggest one used by the Reddit crew.
And have issued restrictions on some of these names. And this is a industry-wide thing. You yourself mentioned that other brokers this week have imposed restrictions. And not speaking for other firms, but for Robinhood in particular, this isn't because there's deals happening with market makers we route to or market participants.
But then why did you allow people to keep selling but not buying?
Ding.
The reason that is so troubling to people is that they were making money buying the stock.
Oh, whoever said this
because they
is
were
the one
against the
segment
short side.
Where you don't want to punch Chris in the mouth.
So by enabling them to
agree.
sell but not buy,
Good job,
it
Chris
sounds
Cuomo.
like you were allowing the hedge funds, and again, one of them owns a piece of you, and they had a big short position, and that looks like a stinky conflict that you didn't come out straight on from the start. Address that.
Well, none of that had anything to do with our decision to do this. Again, this was just looking at regulatory requirements, financial requirements, and we 100% will always protect our customers.
Okay, shut the fuck up, dude. Gunfox61, thank you. Another deuce on the Streamlabs. This guy's full of bullshit. Damn, Chris is special ed. But at least he's somewhat being hard on this guy. Rip this guy full of bullshit apart. Get him. That's bullshit, Robinhood idiot. Yeah, it is. It is crap. And so good job, Chris Cuomo. And I have to show you this too, because here's Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports talking to Tucker Carlson, and this is actually a funny one too, or a good one.
I was stunned. I saw what Robinhood was doing. Ironically, Robinhood take from the rich and give to the poor, even though they do the exact opposite. I was stunned. I think it's criminal. I think there has to be an investigation. I think people have to go to jail. Whether that actually happens, I don't know. But I've never been more convinced about market manipulation and the people, the hedge funds, controlling the game than today. I mean, just to wake up and say, hey, you can't trade these stocks anymore. You can only sell them. We're going to intentionally crash the market in these stocks. And everyone who has it, tough. You're going to lose a ton of money. Exactly. But we're going to save the rich people and the hedge funds. Shocking. Like in 20 years of me doing Barstool, I'm not exaggerating. It's the most shocked I've been. And maybe I shouldn't be. But, when you have AOC and Donald Trump Jr. both on the same side of an issue, something's dramatically wrong.
Right on. Okay, so here's the article in Barstool Sports, and it's fantastic. Somebody named Nate at Barstool Sports says, "Watch the cuntbag CEO of Robinhood lie like a complete scumbag about what happened today." I don't know if this is the same. Whoa, what the hell is that? That's some pump up music, but I have no idea where the hell it's coming from. I hope I don't get a strike for that shit. Here, let me turn that shit off so you don't have to hear it. And I can still hear it. Let's see, is it this car commercial? Nope. It's coming from somewhere else on this channel, unless it's from the New York Post. Oh, there we go. It's coming from the New York Post. I couldn't figure out what the hell that was. Now I can turn it. I don't know if you can still hear it after I shut it off. So he let's see if he's. Is this the same? This is talking to somebody else.
Bring in the CEO of Robinhood, Vlad Atenev, is with us right now, and we appreciate it.
He's telling the same bullshit story, so I'm not going to play that. But here we go. The clown knows. If you don't watch the whole thing, I don't blame you. Here are the cliff notes. The cuntbag. See, I'm just now again. This is quoting. I may lose a green $sign for this one, but that's okay. I'm willing to sacrifice for you. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, I don't blame you. Here are the cliff notes. The cuntbag CEO of Robinhood reads company lines. Did you know that his app is available in the App Store? And answers none of Andrew Sorkin's very straightforward question. Cuntbag dodges them like a wrench and instead spews lies and bullshit and talks in circles and generally says nothing of value. He's an absolute piece of crooked shit. And I hope the SEC, AOC, DDP make an example out of him. Diamond Dallas Page. He's got oh, MC!
Hammer time
is in the house. How you doing, my friend? I haven't seen you for a while. Make an example out of him and his company. If I'm a trading platform, I buy a Super Bowl commercial first thing in the morning burying Robinhood. Go to war. The game has changed. Robinhood deserves nothing, especially after their joke of a CEO went on TV and looked like a complete clown. And no, DDP is not some abbreviation for a government agency. I want Diamond Dallas Page to kick his ass. As promised, I will end every blog hoping this old fuck breaks every bone in his old fuck body. Yeah, this asshole, who, to be clear, anyway, that dude, I didn't play this one yesterday, but that's the guy who's complaining about people going after the rich. Good morning, Jaeger Pony. Also, hello. All right, moving on. I got more if it'll pop up. So now, the title of the stream today, hey, let me come back to this. The title of the stream today is called Monitoring the Situation. And I didn't have much of a description today. If you hadn't noticed, if you didn't read the description today, usually I have a lengthy paragraph of something or give you some preview of what we're going to talk about today. But my description today, all I said is monitoring the situation is the title, and the only line I put in here was, but is the fox guarding the henhouse? Well, and that was in reference to this article. If I can go back to it, let me find it. This article, the new Treasury Secretary, did anyone notice that our new Treasury Secretary is a woman? I know the new White House spokesman made sure that was the most important thing about her when she had a press conference yesterday. Our new press secretary, Janet Yellen, I should probably be whispering instead, because she received $810,000 in speaking fees from the hedge fund embroiled in the GameStop saga. So I wonder I don't know if she's going to have some other people in the Treasury Department deal with this and not kind of just keep herself out of it, or what. Anyway, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen received more than $800,000 in speaking fees from a hedge fund that has become embroiled in the saga over stock trades for a video game retailer, GameStop, according to her financial disclosures. Citadel, a hedge fund founded by Ken Griffin, a major GOP donor, paid Yellen $810,000 to speak at several events from October 2019 to October 2020, according to Yellen's filings with the Office of Government Ethics. The Chicago-based hedge fund paid Yellen $292,500 for a speech on October 17, 2019, $180,000 for one on December 3rd, 2019, and $337,500 to speak at a series of webinars held from October 9th October 9th through 27th, 2020. Now, first of all, God dang. I need to get into the paid speech business for $292,500 for a speech, a single speech, $180,000 for another speech. All in the same year, and another $337,500 for between October 9th and October 27th of last year. God dang! There's got to be was she still part of what? Wasn't she still the head of one of the regional Fed banks or something like that? John Smith says it's not for a speech. I tend to agree with you there, and definitely it's not free speech because that's an expensive ass speeching. But anyway, the Citadel is heavily invested in Melvin Capital, a hedge fund that was reportedly on the brink of bankruptcy this week due to a surge in GameStop prices. Reddit users, okay, we already know the story. But yeah, so I don't know. Oh, and it was funny. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Wednesday that Yellen was confirmed by the Senate, who was confirmed by the Senate on Monday, is, quote, monitoring the situation. There's no indication that Yellen has intervened to help Citadel or Melvin or that she plans to, but calls are growing on all sides of the issue for more regulation from the federal government. Well, I don't know. I got a feeling that this particular incident might be even better than any regulation. You know what I'm saying here? I'm saying, no, I say, let the free market run on this kind of shit. Because right now the free market is kicking some people's asses who need their asses kicked. Good morning, Fox P2. Good morning, Infamous One. How you doing? John Smith also. What up? We don't need less free market here. I think we need more free market where these guys can lose their asses for doing shit like this. But anyway, some institutional investors and regulators have called for more scrutiny of Now, look, here's why. Now, what I just said, here's why. Some institutional investors and regulators have called for more scrutiny of platforms like Reddit and social media sites that have allowed users to plot out investment strategies en masse. Bullshit. No. There should be more scrutiny on the guys shorting and burning companies. That's who the scrutiny should be on. Okay? These guys played the game by the rules, and they are kicking someone's ass who needs their asses kicked. Good morning, Data Wasteland. Good morning, Horrible Gamer. How you doing? So fuck. Look. These assholes leveraged 140% of the stock. Now, now MC says it should be illegal to sell something you don't have. Not necessarily, but you shouldn't be able to sell more than exists of what's something you're selling. Look, let's put it this way, okay? I have a friend, and he owns a car, right? And my friend says, hey, can you help me sell this car? And I say, sure, I'll help you sell the car. How much you selling the car for? Well, I need to make $1,500, okay? I need to make $1,500. And so in the end, I need $1,500 out of this car. And I say, you know what? I can sell that car for you. Let's negotiate. If I can sell it for a couple extra $100, can I keep the extra couple bucks? Sure, why not? So I go find a buyer for that car. Okay, I find a buyer for the car. The buyer is willing to pay $1,700 for the car, and I sell that car. And do I own the asset? No, but I helped my friend sell the car. Yes, and he said, yeah, you can keep the $200. I appreciate. I needed $1,500. You can keep the $200. No problem. But if I go and say I need to sell this car, and I agree that I'm going to pay my friend $1,500 for the car, and I end up selling the car for $1,300, I owe my friend $200. I'm not gonna make that deal because the free market says I don't want to lose $200 to sell my friend's car that I don't own. So I'm not going to make that deal. That's kind of how the free market should work. But in this case, these guys, they sold something they didn't have. Not only did they sell something they didn't have, they sold 140% of something they don't have. So FTG to those guys. Let the free market work. But they're talking, look who they're talking about having more scrutiny on. Not on the assholes who are doing the short selling and selling 140% of assets. They want scrutiny on the guys who figured out their game and is kicking their ass, the little guy. That's what pisses me off. What do you mean scrutiny on the little guy? How about the assholes selling 140% of something they don't even have? That's who the scrutiny should be on. Anyway, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren asserted on Wednesday that hedge funds and other wealthy investors have long used the tactics deployed by the Reddit user investing in GameStop. For years, the same hedge funds, private equity firms, and wealth investors, dismayed by the GameStop trades, have treated the stock market like their own personal casino while everyone else pays the price, Warren said. Well, I know their own personal casino, but they certainly have been destroying companies by doing this. I'll get to Charles Payne in a minute. In fact, let's just skip the rest of this article and move to the next one. There's another problem with Janet Yellen, but I'm going to move that article beyond to somewhere else. We'll talk about her in a minute. Here's the one I want to get to, though. Charles Payne is my man right now after what he said yesterday. And listen to Charles Payne talk about this. I'm not even going to read any of it. I'm just going to play the video. Let me get this where you can see it. Let's give me a sec. And I'll expand it anyway. Listen, Charles Payne is the dude right now. Listen to him talk about this.
But Charles was looking at this phenomenon some weeks back. Now, you know, Charles Payne, if you look at the catalyst initially for attention going to GameStop, it was,
hi, Scotty Dubs.
You know, a guy who was going to take it to the internet level, joining the board, finding a way.
And Somnambule Nation, how you doing? All right.
To be more than just a brick and mortar
Tell
concern.
him, Charles.
Look promising. Enough for Bank of America to say, all right, this is an issue that's worth maybe
Come on, Charles. Give it to him, Charles.
$10, $15 more a share.
Come
Nothing
on,
like
Charles.
this. So what
You
happened?
got this, Charles. You got this, brother.
Well, Neil, first of all, I got to say, I recommended many of these stocks on January 11th or before. I've got the report in my hand that I sent out to my subscribers, and here's the list. The shorts, first of all of this nonsense, all of this noise, all of this whining by Wall Street, it's making me sick.
Right?
140% of GameStop was short. I didn't hear one person on TV complaining about Wall Street trying to crush GameStop. 140% short. I told my subscribers, buy this stock, and they made a fortune. I also told them to buy Virgin Space, Virgin. We took profits on that today. Fizz, that's up huge. Tangers is up huge. Neil, you can't allow Wall Street to short 75% of a stock, and nobody says anything, crush these companies into the dirt, and then when the individual investor makes money, everyone's up in arms. Oh, if they're going to lose their shirt, don't you think people are trading? If it traded 80 billion shares today, people are ringing the register. I have a kid who bought a house. He made $50,000 and bought a house. So yes, some people are going to lose and some are going to win. But if they want to change the rules of the game now because the general public is making money after decades of the shorts crushing thousands of stocks into the dirt, I have watched stocks being crushed completely to zero, and no one ever whispered anything because those stocks didn't have Wall Street sponsorship. They were small names. Maybe they went public through a reverse takeover. Whatever it was, the shorts have had their way with the market for decades. No one's ever complained about it. So I am thrilled. If you were going to try to destroy a company by shorting 140% of its stock, you have to accept the fact that individual investors are playing the same game that you're playing, and now you're losing.
Yes, yes. That's right. Yes. Preach, Charles, preach. Motherfucker. Charles is my hero right now.
At ChargePoint, our passion.
Shut up.
No, our
There we go. Okay, anyway. Let's see. And then he tweeted later, GameStop phenomenon, old Wall Street and paid commentators whined all day about GameStop and dissed retail investors, the same folks that dissed and missed Tesla. If they're so confident retail investors are so dumb, then these babies should short these stocks themselves. There you go. So give me some of that. Give me some of that. All right. Now, this phenomenon has been happening over the last couple days, has made some strange bedfellows. I'm just saying, strange bedfellows. Well, I should not necessarily bedfellows because it has united the left and the right who are just looking out for the people, right? But not all is well in the naked city. I showed you a tweet yesterday. I showed you a tweet yesterday from Ted Cruz and AOC, because AOC had tweeted out, what did she say? I want to remember. I can't remember what she said. I got it bookmarked here. So AOC, I got a shit ton of book. Oh my God, look at all these notifications. Thank you, Tyler F. and Renee Mayette and Angel Tibbs and all y'all tweeting out the show. I appreciate that. Let me get my bookmarks here, though. Where's my bookmarks? Here we go. What was it AOC tweeted out? She tweeted out something that my God, that woman made sense for a change. Here's what AOC had tweeted right here. I'll put it on the screen. She said, we need to know more about Robinhood app's decision to block retail investors from purchasing stock while hedge funds are freely able to trade the stock as they see fit. As a member of the Financial Services Committee, she had to ruffle up her bona fides here. I'd support a hearing if necessary. Now, Senator Ted Cruz concurred, and I don't have the picture of the little thingy he did there. He had one of those point thingies down there. Yes, kind of saying, he didn't say yes queen, but it might as well have been a yes queen, right? And apparently AOC was not happy that he did that. He put one of these fully agree things down here and what she said. Well, she got a little upset and accused Ted Cruz of trying to get her killed. Oh, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. On Thursday, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called for a congressional hearing to investigate the Robinhood stock trading app after it decided to block investors from purchasing stock in response to investors increasing the price of GameStop and AMC stock. Senator Ted Cruz opposes AOC on almost everything, but he agreed with her on this. AOC took this olive branch and lit it on fire. Here's what she tweets to Ted Cruz. Let me go. I'll give you the full strong arm version of this bad boy because it's sad but and yet humorous. Let's see. It's in the bookmarks right here. She decides to flame Ted Cruz for agreeing with her. Here's what she says. I'm happy to work with the Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out now. What's that word that Joe Biden keeps saying? There's a word he keeps saying. What's that word? It's the tip of my tongue. It's UNITY. That doesn't sound very unifying, does it? She continues. But line, you almost had me murdered? Is it just me? Yeah, really?
You're a lying dog face pony soldier.
Is that
why the fuck you lying?
Is it hyperbole? I don't know if that is which one? One's slander, one's libel. I can't remember which one you write, but you almost had me murdered last week. Is that inflammatory? Do you think that fans of AOC would see that? Maybe not understanding that she's talking about the Capitol riot thing. In fact, Ted Cruz was also there at the time and probably was, being protected. So I don't know about almost had me murdered. And she didn't say the situation. You, Ted Cruz, almost had me murdered last week, 3 weeks ago. So you can say that happy to work with almost any GOP that aren't trying to get me killed. Again, she doubles down by accusing him of trying to get her killed. I wonder if anyone who is a fan of AOC would see that and go, oh my God, we got to protect AOC from this dastard man. That's pretty inflammatory, right? But no, she continues. Well, you can conveniently talk about moving on. A second Capitol Police officer lost their life yesterday in the still raging aftermath of the attacks you had a role in. Now, let's break this down a little bit. Okay, a second Capitol Police officer lost their life. Now, was it someone who lost their life to injury sustained during the Capitol attack? Well, let's start there because there's a second half of the sentence. In the still raging aftermath of the attacks you had a role in. The still raging? Is this like one of those autonomous zones or something that they occupied the Capitol building? There's still people in there burning things and breaking stuff. Are they still there? I thought that was over in a couple hours. In the still raging aftermath, and then the attacks you had a role in. Does she have some evidence that we don't know about? But let's talk about this police officer too. How did he die? He died. Oh, did one of the officers die from injuries sustained from the attacks a few weeks ago? Oh no. A second police officer died by suicide following the Capitol attacks. We honor the service and sacrifices of officers Brian Sicknick and Howard Liebengold, and Jeffrey Smith, said the acting D.C. police. A second police officer who responded to the violent insurrection, it was not an insurrection, it was a riot, but it was not an insurrection, that rocked the Capitol building on January 6th, has died by suicide, according to testimony obtained by Politico. Acting Metropolitan Police Chief Robert Conti told House appropriators during a closed-door session on Tuesday that Jeffrey Smith, a D.C. police officer, and Capitol police officer Howard Liebengold both took their own lives in the aftermath of that battle. Now, notice, let me see if, I'm going to read this whole report just to see if there's something that I'm looking for here. Smith's death had not been disclosed prior to Conti's testimony. A third member of law enforcement, Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick, died from injuries sustained during the Capitol attack. We honor the let's see. The report of an additional officer's death once again shook Capitol Hill, where many members and staff were still reeling in the 3 weeks since the insurrection. They can't help themselves, can they? Insurrection. They have to use that word. 5 people died as a result of the riots. 2 officers later died by suicide. Now, notice when they say 5 people died as a result of the riots, even that, is it accurate? 2 heart attacks. Is that a result of the riot? I mean, yes, no, but they're making it sound like people were killed, but no, they died of natural causes related to whatever happened during the exertion or whatever. And 2 later died by suicide. And 2 people dying by suicide again. Is that a result of the riots, or do they have other issues? People don't just, what other issues might these guys have had? A death toll that has horrified lawmakers of both parties and led them to demand answers from Capitol security officials. Congress is still grappling with the ramifications of the events of January 6th, with the Senate it's not like this is the first time the Capitol has been raided. In fact, remember, our last president pardoned, it was Clinton who pardoned someone who bombed the Capitol building. So, just saying. Congress is still grappling with the political ramifications of the events on January 6th, with the Senate in the early stages of an impeachment trial against former President Donald Trump. Yeah, but lawmakers are also deep into an investigation into the many security lapses that left so many Capitol Police and MPD officers outnumbered and vulnerable to the attack by the mob. Lawmakers here. Okay, the rest of this, I just want to see if there's anything saying, yes, and people sustain injuries, yada, yada, yada. Yes, this has been, and this kind of stuff has been going on for 9 months all over the country. So, and this is another example of shit that I don't want to happen. Okay? It's in a long list of shit that nobody wants to happen. But politicizing this one as much as, well, they're all political, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, calling it an insurrection is almost funny. Anyway, back to this, though. So, the still raging aftermath. Well, there is no raging aftermath. There hasn't been any incidents since, at least not at the Capitol. Now, granted, on Inauguration Day, there were riots in the cities and around America that had nothing to do with this, but whatever. So she finishes us off by saying, you haven't even apologized for the serious physical and mental harm you contributed to from Capitol Police and custodial workers or your own fellow members of Congress. In the meantime, you can get off my timeline and stop clout chasing. Who clout chases more than AOC? Seriously, is there anyone in Congress who doesn't use Twitter to clout chase, who doesn't use Twitter, sorry, who doesn't use Twitter to blow up her own image. And oh my God, it's embarrassing. Happy to work with the other GOP on this. Well, good for you, AOC. How about you? Whatever. Oh, that's funny. I don't know why this one's right under it. This is interesting. This is Steve Scalise. Now, it's not related, but I just happened to show you this. These are the images the left, the media, and Joe Biden don't want you to see. They want to silence anyone who exposes the violence and destruction they've been labeling as peaceful protests for months. Let's check this out. I haven't seen this one. It just happens to be here. Hi, Woodcutter. How you doing?
You get out and you get out.
Oh, yes, let's talk about...
get up in the face of some Congress people. We kick...
Domestic enemies are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue with their allies in the Congress.
I think Democrats are ignoring this problem.
The NYPD is reporting 28 shootings from just over the weekend. That's a 600% increase.
We're seeing the same thing here in Los Angeles. Our homicides have been up 32%.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
We've got 4 blocks in Seattle that you just saw pictures of that is more like a block party.
We had 2 murders, multiple shootings, rape, robbery, assault.
We need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
We need a revolution in order to overthrow this system, bring a whole new communist world into being.
Fundamentally transform the country.
We ain't about waiting until the next election. We about
that dude was at the Capitol. He was at the Capitol. This is the guy that got arrested. That was he was filming, right? And he was telling burn this shit down, whatever. And then he got out and they let him go at first, but now they got him back in. Hello, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Anyway, and
it's from the country.
This dude right here, he was one of the guys who got arrested for being inside the Capitol building.
Wait until the next election. We about to go get that motherfucker.
Anyway, so Steve Scalise, that's timing for you, for Steve Scalise putting that up. Anyway, but I still laugh, AOC. UNITY. Who was that? Queen Latifah who sang that song, and a bunch of other women. It was her. It was on her album, I think. All right, let's move forward. What's this message I got here? Thank you, Cynical Lindsay. What do you got? Oh, yeah, as you see, I already had watch the cuntbag CEO of Robinhood lie like a complete scumbag. That's from Barstool Sports. Might have been one of the greatest articles ever. All right, let's move on to some other news because, oh, wait, he's back in jail. Yeah, he's back in jail. They took him back in and questioned him. Now he's back in jail. I don't know did they let him go again? No, they put him back in jail, and maybe he had to do bail. I don't know, but they came back and interviewed him again. By the way, this is a good time to take a sip of the coffee or tea or whatever you got. I got my tea today in the Big Daddy cup. All right, so let's move on. Other news today, Nancy Pelosi. Do I need to say any more? Can I just say Nancy Pelosi? Do you want to hear you want to hear the rest of the story? Okay, Nancy Pelosi says that House members who carry guns for self-defense are the enemy within. I think she's a little nervous about what's her name? What's that woman's name that from Colorado? I don't know. She's the bar owner. Anyway, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi referred to House members who carry guns for self-defense as the enemy within. On Thursday, Breitbart's Joel Pollack reported Pelosi's statement wherein she was given a chance to put forward her stance on House members who want to be armed for self-defense. Lauren Boebert, that's her name, from Colorado, is the co-chair of the House of Representatives Second Amendment Caucus, and has been outspoken about her commitment to carry a gun in D.C. On December 23rd, 2020, exclusive interview with Breitbart News, Boebert said, "I am my security." She added Washington, D.C., like most Democrat-run cities, has a violent crime problem, so I certainly need a way to protect myself, and I will be carrying each and every day. Following the January 6, 2021 Capitol riots, Breitbart News reported that Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky and the other co-chair of the Second Amendment Caucus talked about how comforting it was to be armed when the rioters struck. Massie said the next member who argues congressmen shouldn't be allowed to carry firearms at work needs to be laughed out of the Capitol. So there's going to be a fight about that. And then Nancy Pelosi had him put up metal detectors the day after. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes because D.C. has some interesting firearms laws. And I know that Boebert was fighting with the mayor of D.C. about whether or not she should be able to carry in the city of Washington. I think she kind of temporarily won that fight. I don't know that. Be interesting how the Supreme Court would see that, as far as being able to carry firearms within the Capitol building. I don't know. Boebert's a tiny person and she wants to protect herself. I don't know. Tough thing. All right, let me do a real quick break and I'll be right back. Give me 60 seconds. Here's the commercial.
Hey everybody, it's me, Marty. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I hope you're enjoying the show. The Morning Night Live is sponsored by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. Please, if you have a moment, take time to share this stream by hitting that little arrow down below or up here if you're on a mobile. And please hit the like button. I know you like it, you're still here and you're still watching. And finally, if you want to support the show, you can do that through your donations and super chats, which are in the description down below. You can do that at Streamlabs link or at PDawgKnight.live. That every little bit helps. And thank you for watching. Now back to the show.
All right, and I am back. So I mentioned earlier that the new Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, the money that she took for speeches isn't the only issue that's come up recently. She also has another issue of some financial disclosures that say a few interesting things about her. This one, Biden Treasury Secretary Yellen paid by Chinese Communist Party linked group. Yay! Good for her. Treasury Secretary, the financial relationship is revealed via her most recent disclosure as item 33 on a 68-item long list titled Filers' Sources of Compensation Exceeding $5,000 a year. And what number was it? 33? That is from a company called Cashapp, and they're located in Beijing, outside of the U.S. Now, Cashapp has been highlighted by the Washington Post for its ties to the Chinese Communist Party through its founder, Hu Shuli, including personal friendships with former party leadership. Cashapp, for Hu, founded after leaving Kajang in 2013, has been able to navigate China's media landscape better than most. Some attribute this to Hu's savvy and personal connections. She comes from a line of Communist Party intellectuals and maintains a friendship with Wang Qishan, China's vice president. Now let's just call this what it is. This is right-wing propaganda that hang on a second, let me fix this. We know that this is right-wing propaganda trying to show that the Democrats have a lot of ties to China and maybe sometimes are doing things in China's interest. And it's just bullshit. You just can't trust the right-wing media on this topic. So just thought I'd let you know. Anyway, she's got her issues. Moving on. This is interesting. John Hickenlooper, which is one of those. It's one of those names that you go, I wonder what Hickenlooper means. Well, this statement may give you an idea. Hickenlooper. It just sounds like something. how can I put this? It sounds like something dirty. You know, I'm going to go get some Hickenlooper. You know, it just sounds dirty, right? Well, John Hickenlooper said, unity is like pornography, says the Democratic senator who watched Deep Throat with his mom.
Your life makes me sad.
He said, I'll know it when I see it. After promising to restore unity to Washington, in his inaugural address, President Joe Biden signed more executive orders in his first 2 days than President Donald Trump signed in his first 2 months. Democrats in Congress, meanwhile, appear to have little appetite for bipartisan compromise. As a result, Biden and his Democratic colleagues are struggling to accept the fact that saying the word unity over and over again may sound nice, but the actual uniting the country would require unifying actions that run contrary to the political interests of the Democratic Party. Now, in a Washington Post report, headline, Biden struggles to define his unity promise for a divided nation. Democratic lawmakers were hard-pressed to offer a coherent definition of the word. One of them, Senator John Hickenlooper, from Colorado, went so far as to compare the concept of unity to pornography. I'll know it when I see it, Hickenlooper said when asked to describe unity. Isn't that what they say about pornography? The senator was referencing the subjective definition of obscenity proffered by then Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart in the 1964 case involving a French film about adultery. It should come as no surprise that Hickenlooper used a conversation about uniting the country as an opportunity to discuss pornography. He has repeatedly discussed the time he watched the legendary adult film Deep Throat with his own mother during a trip home from college. She said, I'd love to go. She said, I'd love to go because she didn't want to be left alone in the house again. So I took my mother to see Deep Throat. Hickenlooper told the audience at a CNN town hall event in 2019. His mother was mortified upon seeing the X-rated film, but insisted on staying for the duration. Wait. Wait. I have to read that sentence again. His mother was mortified upon seeing the X-rated film, but insisted on staying for the duration. Anyway, she even complimented the movie's very good lighting on the drive home, Hickenlooper said. Oh, you know, I don't know. Is unity like pornography? When do you get excited about a unity? Do you get that warm feeling in your nether parts about unity? Johnny Hellcat, what the hell did I just walk into? I don't know. Depends on when exactly you hit that clicker thingy. Oh my gosh. James PFP, what's up? Let's see. Mortified, she owns and operates a funeral home. Oh my God. I don't know if I needed to know that. And hello, Lord Stanhope. Moving on. The impeachment show must not go on. The Senate trial of a private citizen with no chance of conviction would be pointless and divisive. This is an article from The Spectator that I found interesting. regarding the impeachment, I think it's a little editorial that we're going to just go through. On Tuesday, 45 senators stood up to declare the impeachment proceedings against someone not holding office to be unconstitutional. No reasonable person can imagine that anyone who believes that the whole proceeding is illegitimate will ever vote to convict someone in that proceeding. It is clear the only thing the Senate trial will do will be to give one more confirmation of Alexander Hamilton's sober assessment in Federalist 65. Quote, the prosecution of impeachment will seldom fail to agitate the passions of the whole community and to divide it. In such cases, there will always be the greatest danger that the decision will be regulated more by the comparative strength of parties than by the real demonstrations of innocence or guilt. My Alexander Hamilton was a smart fellow. Despite the certainty of such partisan upheaval, Hamilton and the framers saw impeachment as necessary to hold a powerful check on executive or judicial power. The job of the chief executive requires a certain immunity from normal legal process. If the president betrays the trust invested in him by the people, they can, through Congress, remove the power from his hands and the immunity that went along with it and return him to accountability before a regular court of law, like any other private citizen. But, I'm going Southern preacher on you here, but once someone is a private citizen, it is the courts and the courts alone that can try someone. I'm going to stop that because that's annoying. No longer wielding immense governmental powers, and the former office holder is in need of all the protections of due process that any citizen has against the government's attempt through prosecution to deprive him of property, liberty, or life. Thus, the marvelous and redeeming refusal of Chief Justice John Roberts to preside over this trial for the simple reason that it is not the trial of the president, but only of a private citizen. The Constitution forbids the legislature from acting as a criminal court, this being the meaning of its prohibition of bills of attainder or of ex post facto laws, and its absence of authorization of impeachment of ordinary citizens, as has been done in England. The Chief Justice here has finally taken a courageous stand for the Constitution and at a decisive moment. With the Chief Justice walking away, a man who long ago voiced his conviction of the accused's guilt will preside over the trial. As Ken Kesey once remarked, at least with a hypocrite, there is some deference to what is right. What a sad reality that even the one sitting in the seat of the presiding judge doesn't even bother to pretend to be impartial. Yeah, Senator Leahy, not even, I mean, I think he's already said something about how they should be convicting him anyway. The ever-predictable media acts as if there is a precedent establishing the impeachment trial of a private citizen as constitutional, referring to the one trial in all of American history in which this has happened, not a president, but a retired cabinet secretary. But some even point to the Senate having taken a vote and affirming that its own proceeding is constitutional. But while the Senate can indeed determine the rules for its own proceedings, it cannot determine whether those rules bind outside the Senate chamber. There is indeed precedent that the Senate can hold such a trial. There is no precedent whatsoever that a conviction in such a trial would hold up to the constitutional challenge. Any attempt to enforce a disqualification from future office based on such an unauthorized proceeding would surely be challenged in court, and the challenger would have the strongest of cases. But all of this is moot. The 45 senators who properly declared this trial unconstitutional will never vote to convict. Therefore, a conviction would fail by at least 12 votes. Will the managers proceed? Of course they will, because they want a show trial. They want the dog and pony show. But anyway, any reasonable person has seen this confirmation of Hamilton's words in today's hyper-partisan with anger and divisiveness. To proceed with this case that can succeed will To proceed with a case that cannot succeed will only produce more of the same. Now, there is no reasonable possibility of conviction. Why would they proceed? Sedition is a crime known to law. Presidential power does not stand in the way of a prosecution in court if there is really a case against Trump. But again, their articles of impeachment are incitement, and we know that there's a legal term, incitement, that this case does not fulfill. Anyway, those who claim to stand for the law and the Constitution have a chance to prove their sincerity and to unite us by accepting due process and proving it in a court of law. Yeah, please, I want them to take this one to court. I really do, because it's going to get thrown out. If they don't, and they go ahead with the sham of a show trial in the Senate, they prove their contempt for all they say they stand for. Yes, queen, even though it's not a woman. Anyway, thank you also. One of our recurring sponsors, BBC Rentals, has added another deuce to the Streamlabs tip jar. And, quote, here's the ad. I gotta get my fingers ready here. Give the gift of sanity to those sexual frustrated Karens in power with BBC Rentals. We now offer to straighten out those crazy bitches with multiple sessions with BBC Rentals hate fucking services. BBC Rentals, unless you're racist.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, BBC Rentals, for another one of our recurring sponsors. Again, if you have a special sponsor you would like to add to the show, we are always looking for new sponsors. Write your ad and drop a couple bucks in the Streamlabs, and you can have you get a lot of, with Streamlabs, you don't have that limited number of characters you use that you use with Super Chats, although Super Chats are fine too. If you want to spend the money on Super Chats, I am there for you. So there you go. All right, we're running out of time, so let's try to get through these last few articles quickly. Just some breaking news: the vetting of 25,000 guardsmen. Well, apparently they didn't find any extremists. In the wake of the storming of the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, an unprecedented step was taken, placing 25,000 National Guardsmen to protect the Capitol. Democratic Representative Steve Cohen, jackass from I can't remember where, I think New York, expressed concern that with so many white Trump voters in the Guard, there could be a violent extremists among them. Politico shared these concerns in a piece arguing that the military has a hate group problem. This piece used entirely anecdotal evidence, so is there any real data? Well, it turns out that thanks to concerns from people like Cohen, the National Guard and the FBI vetted the 25,000 grunts from across the nation to assure no extremists were among them. It was widely reported that 12 guardsmen were removed from the force as a result of the vetting, but now the Federalist Jordan Davison has gotten clarification from the National Guard about the 12 people. According to the Guard, quote, as stated by General Hokanson, Chief of the National Guard Bureau, two members were brought to the attention of the command for inappropriate text or statements, while the other 10 were flagged by the FBI during routine checks that they performed during every inauguration. Quote, none of these individuals were flagged for extremist, criminal, or threat association. Their chain of command will review the circumstances and will take appropriate actions if necessary, or they will be referred to law enforcement. So there you go. None of those 25,000 that were there were thought to be extremists. Oh, thank goodness. That would have been terrible if that had happened. Moving on. DHS, I told you about this one yesterday. But they're still... The Department of Homeland Security is still playing the game. They have issued, let me straighten that out. They have issued a federal terrorism advisory over domestic extremists. First alert this year, following the Capitol riot on January 6th, the Department of Homeland Security issued a national terrorism advisory warning Wednesday, citing a, quote, heightened threat environment across the U.S. Wonder if that includes Seattle and Portland. And what was the other? There was another city where and even in New York City, where the Antifa people were marching around? I wonder if that includes them. I'm just curious. Using a federal system designed to warn about pressing threats to the nation, the DHS said that a National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin would remain in effect until April 30th, saying the threat would persist in the weeks following the successful presidential inauguration. All right, I want to know which, you can read the rest of this shit yourself. I wonder which F-tard in the DHS decided to hold this on to, I want to know if there are credible threats, literally credible threats, like they actually have, like someone trying to kidnap the governor of Michigan or some shit like that, which, by the way, that plot remember the plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitler, what's her name? Whitmer? I like to call her Whitler. Remember that? Do you know, like, there was like 6 people in this plot, supposedly? Did you know that of the 6 men, one of them was an undercover FBI agent and 2 were federal witnesses? So, and apparently, because one of the lawyers for one of the guys who were not one of those 3, has said that the leader of the idea was one of those 3, either the FBI agent or the 2 federal witnesses. Like, this was a setup. Anyway, I don't know what made me think of that, but someone was talking about that the other day, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember hearing that. Moving on, Democratic lawmaker to introduce a bill for nationwide mail-in voting. Yes! Necessary to make real progress. Oh, great. Now, here's a problem. I can already tell you a problem with this bill. I'm going to read you the headline, and then I'm going to tell you the problem anyway. Massive Dynamics is back. I'm sorry, Mass Creation Broadcast is back. You've changed your name. And a little hi, hard disk fail. I saw you earlier and I forgot to say hello. Good morning. 2 Democratic lawmakers introduced a bill on Thursday dubbed the Vote at Home Act to expand Oregon-style mail-in voting nationwide, contending that the move is necessary to make real progress in the country. The bill, introduced by Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon and Representative Earl Blumenauer from Oregon, designed to fight voter suppression as detailed by Wyden's press release. The measure would massively expand vote-at-home ballot access, provide voters with prepaid ballot envelopes, and enact automatic voter registration.
Wow.
The lawmakers point to an unprecedented number of Americans who voted by mail in the 2020 presidential election. It was unprecedented, all right. Oh. Okay, I'm just going to stop right here. You can read the story on your own. Here's the problem. Senators Ron Wyden and Earl Blumenauer. It's unconstitutional. Who can tell me why this is unconstitutional? I'm going to move on to the next story, and if you can tell me in the chat why this is unconstitutional, you will get the first bell. Moving on. I'm just going to move on. You tell me why that's unconstitutional. So Biden's first week in office was pretty destructive now, wasn't it? Killed a lot of jobs and all that shit. And they are addressed to a sorting center where they are conveniently open and replaced by ballots of their liking. Nope, that's not the reason. Well, we got a combination, yes, between OSAN, 10th Amendment, sort of, but hard disk fail. Yes, elections are run by the states, and it's specifically in the Constitution that the state legislatures determine how voting is done in each state. So there cannot be any federal Now, they would have to make a change to the Constitution, but yeah, it's not a federal function. Voting is not a federal function. They are a state function. So Ron Wyden and whatever the other dude's name can go eat a bag of dicks. Anyway, hi, Rod Line. And oh, sad, I didn't say hi, but I saw you there. Good morning, and Jim Beam, what's happening? After promising to unite us in his inaugural address, Biden almost immediately set about to do more than to divide us than any president in American history, setting aside for the moment of the plethora of executive orders that he issued in his first week, the purpose of which was to wipe out as many of Trump's accomplishments as he could. Clearly not a unifying undertaking. Let's just look at what he didn't do to further the cause of UNITY. Impeachment. If Biden had possessed an ounce of leadership, let alone statesmanship, the first thing he would have done was to call off the impeachment dogs. The effort to impeach Donald Trump, who has already left office and who has clearly committed no impeachable offense, is one of the most divisive efforts that now confronts our deeply troubled and divided republic. It is a brainless act of vindictiveness, possessed not of a shred of constitutional support. By using his authority as president, he could have certainly invade against Chuck Schumer. Forget about Nancy Pelosi. She's a hopeless heifer. To kill this measure as soon as it arrived in the Senate. Needless to say, he chose not to do this. Number 2, cancel culture. How do you unite your party with the opposition when you are supporting current efforts to silence that opposition? We have never witnessed this sort of assault on free speech. The Dems just don't want conservatives to have a voice. What are they afraid of? Truth and logic. Anyway, if you had a winning argument, wouldn't you want to expose the inadequacy of your opponent? The answer is clear. They have no sound argument, and what they are for, socialism, finds no support with the American public. Indeed, the Democrats are just trying to suppress the right speech. According to geniuses like Katie Couric, Trump supporters need to be deprogrammed. Oh, she's so sweet. That sounds like a solid argument for UNITY. H.R. 1, an invitation to commit fraud. Biden did nothing to interfere with the prospect of the passage of House Resolution 1 as it wends its way through Congress. H.R. 1 is a brazen left-wing effort to further concentrate power in the federal government. The Heritage Foundation nicely summarizes it the following way. H.R. 1, House Resolution 1, federalizes and micromanages the electoral process administered by the state, imposing unnecessary and unwise unconstitutional mandate on the states and reversing the decentralization of American elections process, which is necessary for protecting our liberty and freedom. The bill interferes with the ability of the states and their citizens to determine qualifications for voters and ensure accuracy of voter registration rolls, to secure the integrity of elections, to participate in the political process, and to determine the district boundary lines for electing representatives. This is that bill where they want to do mail-in voting and automatic registration. That's the first thing they came up with, the Democrats. You have to change the Constitution to do that. Anyway, in short, it is nothing more than a power grab designed to further cripple the Republican Party. Time and space do not allow of any extensive discussion of Biden's executive orders, a procedure Biden described to George Stephanopoulos during his campaign as a dictatorial method of producing a measure that in a democracy should be reserved for the legislature. So he told George Stephanopoulos that doing all these executive orders would be dictatorial. And then what did he do? What did Joe Biden do? He became the funny guy, the mustache dude from the 40s that everyone says Donald Trump is. Mr. Yes, how are you? And CNN sucks, the most redundant name on the internet. I am so happy to see you. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. I'm glad you're back. There's some of these names I see, I don't see as often. I get it. There's a whole lot of shit going on the internet, but it's fun to see you all around here once in a while. By the way, hit the like button and all that stuff that you do that I tell you all the time. Yeah, Biden doesn't want unity. Biden doesn't give a fuck about unity. Biden doesn't even know where he is half the time. Biden Biden can eat a bag of dicks. Okay, I already said that. There's an article that I have here how the GOP's 2022 Senate prospects are clouded by retirements. I'm not going to get into it because it's not as important of a. But yeah, they need to go on a talent search because there's some senators retiring, and if they are serious about gaining the Senate back as far as a majority, they need to start working. And same with the House. Although I think the House, there's a lot of I wouldn't say I don't want to say Trumpist because that's kind of the derogatory term the Democrats do use, but more Trump style Republicans I think are running in a lot of states, and for whatever reason, maybe because they tend to be more freedom friendly, they've been having success. Although we did get the one okay, let's just be real about what's her name, Marjorie something Taylor, the one who's a little bit on the out there side. I worry about her, not as much because of what she does or says in the Congress, in the House of Representatives, but I worry about the perceptions that they're going to use to blanket her over the entire GOP, because she's one of those Q people, kind of, and she's had they're finding all kinds of things she said in the past, and they're going to try to paint the entire GOP with everything. They're going to try to look, let me put it this way. The right and the Republicans try to paint the Democrats as with everything that AOC does and says. Well, Marjorie Taylor is the Republicans' AOC that they're going to be able to use to everything that she says that sounds crazy or whatever. They're going to paint her. They're going to paint the entire GOP with her. So we got to find candidates that maybe don't have the crazy, but still have the principles and ideas that we were trying to move toward. And also that aren't pussies. Oh, what was it? By Lady Boomer came up with a funny, because she was talking about, I forgot it. She said something about, she said something about that. Wait a minute. This is funny, and I got to think of it. I don't want to get it wrong. It was related to something stupid that was going on. Let me look at my bookmarks here. It was one of these things I was telling her about that was really stupid. And she said, she says, now I know why we call it a cunt tree, because we're turning into a bunch of pussies. And I just rolled out laughing. I can't even remember what it was about, but it was some stupid bill or something. She's like, now I know why we call it a cunt tree, because we're turning into a bunch of pussies. I was like, oh my God. Coming out of, not that, my wife sometimes swears like a truck driver, but that still, I was not prepared for that one to come out of her mouth. That was hilarious. All right, let me I'm done. I can't do it. I'm out of time. Oh my gosh. Anyway, folks. I must be gone, but I will put these articles that I have in the tabs and put them on a one tab for you guys, and it will be in the description down below shortly after I leave. Good morning, Thomas Cleaver. Nice to see you. Shortly after I leave this land of whatever this is, this land of virtual things going on behind my head. But before you think of doing that, please hit the like button. It's right down somewhere down here. Hit that like button if you like what we do. And also share the stream out. I would appreciate that. That helps. I think I got 20 new subs this week. That's because you guys been making it known. So yeah, share this out. And also, if you are so inclined, you can donate to the show through Streamlabs. YouTube Super Chats, Venmo, Cashapp. That's all in the description down below. And if you're watching the replay, put a comment in the comment section so that I know you're here. Even if it just says, hey, PDawg, hey, Marty, whatever you want to put in there. I always like to see who shows up after the show and why the numbers keep going up. I like to know who dropped by. So anyway, I must leave, people, but I hope you had a good day today. I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you get notifications, or follow me on most social media where I am always at PDawgKnight. That's it for today, people. Who knows if I do anything over the weekend, but for now, I gotta go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye.
Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.